Manila and TI. Only 2 teams. I think the top 6 is all of them. Yeah. And are they still in TI?
Yeah. MVP?
Yeah.
EHOME's turn to pick.
No, Fnatic didn't do Frankfurt. Did Frankfurt?
Yeah, Fnatic.
No, not Fnatic. All 3 this year. Just in 20.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so Fnatic and MVP is the only 2 to make the top 6. Yeah. All 3. The 2 majors.
I don't like quizzes. They put me on edge.
You don't?
Reminds me of school.
There's no exam here, Shane. There's no exam. 40 seconds. Let's do predictions very quickly. Sticking with it, obviously.
Yeah, I think game 3 is happening.
Yeah. Okay. So you want to go?
I wanna hope game 3 is happening. So let's go EHOME.
Okay.
You gotta support DC. After that Mama
You've
Moo
been with them
interview.
all the way through, Shay. Can't teach them. They're ride or die on DC, right?
Agree.
Yeah. Moo's played a bit of Mafia with us. We've been there with him. He's been our bro, hasn't he? We've looked after him. He's looked after us.
They're all just genuinely like enthusiastic, nice guys.
Yeah.
I want them to do well.
All right. Well, mine's based on no scientific fact whatsoever. Just the fact that once upon a time, Moo and I did some karaoke together. And so therefore, it has to be DC, right?
Look, nice guys finished last, Shane.
We'll see. Let's head back to the arena for draft number 2.
Hello everybody and welcome back in for game number 2 of Digital Chaos versus EHOME. We're back at the drafter's desk with Winter, Black, and Draskell. Gentlemen, we have a draft that's underway already. Digital Chaos have picked up Marana and the Timbersaw, while EHOME, Shadow Demon, and the Kunkka. Once again, the Lanham Special.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Didn't work out the first game at all though.
10 seconds
Now we went right back to it.
Yeah, but
confidence? False confidence? What is it?
There's no ET this time.
5
So
seconds
I think that's a big
remaining.
difference.
No
Naga as well.
Yeah, but I like DC banned that themselves. I think it's because they realized
Reserve
that,
time.
like you mentioned during the post game, it was like a one-time thing. They got caught off guard by a roll switch, and it really crushed their lane super hard. So makes sense to not try to go for something like that twice.
Wait, DC first pick, right? Game?
I don't actually.
Wait, your first pick ban?
I can't believe we are doing this.
First pick does not get last pick.
DC's turn
There you
to
go.
ban.
Oh my god, Black.
What?
He's used to playing, not being on this side.
He doesn't have to think that much. He just hits creeps.
Yeah. That's my job.
Yeah. And
Black, there's some
he
creeps
wasn't
over there.
okay with ice
sorry, don't know?
creep hittings. I don't know either. I can't see the screen, Black.
Winter, bro. Mirana first pick or what?
Look,
Whatever.
you're talking to a Ricer and a guy who's blind. So
DC's
Well,
the experts,
turn
folks.
to ban.
Anyway, I assume Potom was first pick, so that took Shadow Demon Potom. I mean, Shadow Demon Kunkka right after that. Also, as a block pick.
it's
10
fine.
seconds
Everything's
remaining.
fine.
They get rid of that Nature's Prophet and Ricky, by the way, on the side of
5
EHOME.
seconds
So
remaining.
obviously fear a little bit of that Urky Invis presence, and maybe don't want to have to
Reserve
deal with
time.
that split pressure across the map.
I mean, everybody knows it's gonna be Moo Timbersaw pretty much, and they used to run a lot of safe lane profits or
EHOME's
A few
turn
games
to pick.
during the group stage.
Yeah.
Basically, the way they ran it is like they had one roaming support, so your safe laner can always participate in the early fights, and you can take
DC's
tower.
turn to pick.
TP's in, get a kill. You summon the trains and you pressure towers. That was basically what they did in a few games in the group stage.
This is a respect pick against Moose Timber, if anything. This is probably the single most frustrating hero to play Timber against. Coddle's pretty bad too, but Nyx can just interrupt
10
any one of your
seconds
abilities, stop your
remaining.
burst damage, mana burn, you're just super annoying. Really, really solid pick, and obviously
5
comfort zone for
seconds
EHOME as well.
remaining.
yeah. But of course, we didn't talk about the biggest counter. It's not even picked yet. Bloodseeker.
Reserve time.
Is he actually?
He's not picked yet, I think, right?
No, I don't mean is he actually picked. I mean is he?
I mean, like you rapture him, he's like kind of like man, only just longer.
Right.
Yeah, it's like 12 seconds or something.
You gotta predict it with your Lotus Orb and just send it right back. That's the...
Yeah.
I mean, you can't... I can do that.
I can.
Okay.
And you, Winter?
I mean, Rupture's a pretty long
I
cast time.
I just won't pick First Seeker because he's a terrible hero. Sorry.
Rip. Digital
Okay.
Chaos looking for the third pick right now, though.
Yeah, we have the offlane Nyx. Ogre Magi.
EHOME's
Looking to put a lot of
turn to
pressure
pick.
on the offlane. Really good to gank with Potom in middle as well. Obviously very
DC's
capable late game hero.
turn to
On top of
pick.
that.
It's just overall good lane pressure so far, I think, coming out from DC.
Yeah.
And I mean, Nyx is like... Actually, it's EHOME's Nyx, so that Nyx apparently beats like Death Prophets with Drow Aura. So I'm just gonna say he's gonna have a good lane.
10
Pick Death
seconds
Prophet too, dude.
remaining.
Yeah, but it's on the same team, so it's fine.
5
Yeah,
seconds
okay.
Yeah, there you go,
remaining.
see? Easy.
Yeah. And like DP generally is
Reserve time.
like what do they run with DP? Like I did not see them run DP a lot yet.
Like safe laner that doesn't need too much farm. Like
Juggernaut?
a few games of Timber, but there's no Timber here.
So Juggernaut maybe? They're pretty good with DP.
But I think that Void maybe safe lane. It's
Void safe lane, yeah. Void DP is one of the most old school combos. Would be pretty cool.
good setup for the boat. That could be nice for them. And time dilation against Timber. Like you have another extra tool and silence from DP.
You're
Hey.
okay with playing around like 2 super long cooldowns? I think that's
I
okay
mean,
for
you already have DP.
Yeah, true.
You have to
Might
play
as well
around
go all in, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
have
kind
to
of
play
force
around
yourself
DP
into
up.
that. Yeah.
Faceless Void.
Hello, bro.
Fine,
Oh, the deny.
EHOME's turn
I mean,
to
it's good for their lineup too. Set up for Timber, set up for Mirana.
Well, it's a carry Void for sure. We don't know whether Misery is gonna play the bottom yet or not. He has a history of playing it a lot too. And then I could get another hero for Weeha. I'm not sure whether Invoker is
10
banned or not right
seconds
now.
remaining.
But don't you think that Mirana Call would be better this game? Because you want to get more farm so you do
5
damage in the
seconds
chrono.
remaining.
Mirana Core is definitely very good, and Wee is very comfortable on it. Like
Yeah.
he dismantled
Reserve
PNC
time.
earlier with it, and it's definitely a possibility. But you know they can always go back for like their Invoker if they really feel like it. Cause they have like a really good setup with it as well.
Yeah, I could see that still happening. I just value Mirana Call. Like for this team in
Reserve
particular,
time.
they are really comfortable, like you mentioned.
DC's
And it's gonna be very
turn
easy
to
for you to
ban.
gank with the Ogre roaming around to set up the arrow.
Yeah, and DP is like very easily like gankable by Potom and Ogre. If they ever catch her off guard, she's just dead.
I mean, if you're Shadow Demon in this game, you probably just... Or
10
Conquest, think about just sitting mid and
remaining.
just camping
Probably
that lane.
yeah, probably Conquer would be the one that sits around and
5 seconds remaining.
No, I think SD could do that too. You get poison at level 1 and you spam and you pressure and you make sure that the DP gets like the first 2 waves you get all the CS and then you can leave the lane after.
It's very problematic for the safe lane though, because like a Kunkka probably can zone like an offlane Timber.
Yeah, I mean you need like I said, you need a safe laner that doesn't really need too much, you know.
Yeah. But at the same time, like if Timber gets like level 3 really early, like after the 4th wave, it's like almost impossible to lane against him. I really hate that when I
10
play carries and he's like level 3 really early. He just stands there in the creep wave and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, basically I think probably the best solution is to have SD Conquer with a carry that can make sure that every time they disrupt the Timber Saw, they make sure they kill him.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the best solution for them now to deal with the Timber.
I would really like a
10
Juggernaut.
seconds remaining.
Although Juggernaut is probably not the best against Void and
5
Timber
seconds
in general,
remaining.
but it goes like really well with the strategy.
Yeah, it's solid. Healing ward for them to push.
Mage.
Ooh.
Kyra.
EHOME's
So does the call
turn to
Mirana?
Yeah,
Yep.
for Mirana, and they have like arguably the 2 supports that are very strong in the early game to roam, run around, pressure,
Yeah,
win their
that-
lanes.
Is there potential for another aggro lane here, depending on the core of EHOME?
Might be like
Yeah,
a
why not?
1v1, a
10
1v1 next
seconds
Timber. I mean,
remaining.
the
maybe.
Timber free farms for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
5
DP
seconds
middle,
remaining.
might be slightly a DP favorite, I guess.
yeah, it's slightly DP favorite, but whenever the supports are missing, you have to be like really careful in the
Reserve
mid lane.
time.
I think if you pressure the safe lane enough, it doesn't really matter so much that the DP gets a better time in the mid lane.
I mean, they don't have a save yet other than Shadow Demon,
Yeah.
which is like not the best save against Chrono, and they
think
can
it's
easily
more-
burst him with Skywrath.
It's just very hard for them, I think, to kill 2 of the 3 heroes if it was an aggro lane. Like, the Sky would be the kill target. He would never be in position to be gone on.
And literally the only kill target. Like
Yeah.
Ogre is just impossible to
I mean,
kill.
I feel this pick is very difficult for EHOME. There's no obvious good heroes. They are extremely cornered because the lanes are very strong from DC. If they pick a carry that's super weak, they might get exploited. And the other cores can't really, like, you can't really move DP around. DP has to be mid, so you can only move the Nyx around.
Like, I don't know, they need like a really non-greedy hero. Like Juggernaut is really the only
Yeah.
one that strikes me.
We heard you.
No, Juggernaut's
We
banned.
know you
dude.
want Jug.
Juggernaut is banned. Juggernaut's first ban. Do you
Oh,
guys
what the
take
heck?
glasses?
I didn't see that at all. Oh, now I know.
Lifestealer
That
is going to be the final pick for EHOME, gentlemen.
I don't think it's salvage the draft, but it's going to allow them to make ganks with Nyx, and hopefully that kind of ganks will help them get back into the game.
But they will definitely lose the
Yeah,
like
I'm going
laning
DC.
phase.
I'm going DC. So
Same. DC. No game 3.
I'm gonna go DC, yeah. 2-0.
3 for
okay,
DC. Winner, you want to send it out to our casters?
sure.
Go for it.
Forgot who's casting.
Yeah, I actually forgot who's casting. Sorry. We're gonna go to game 2 of DC versus EHOME here, and our casters Cap and Blitz.
Thank you so much for that stellar introduction, Winter.
I'm glad we're that memorable for you. Welcome back to Game 2 of Digital Chaos and EHOME DC
10
leading
seconds
game
remaining.
number 1 up right now. And the analyst just said
5
DC
seconds
all
remaining.
3. Things got to be a bit concerning if you're an EHOME fan. But Blitz, are you going to be the one to turn the tide? Do you like EHOME's draft? Do you feel they have an advantage? Or are you going to side with everyone else and say DC all the way?
I actually think EHOME have the better draft. I feel like this is a very good
Prepare
Nyx
for battle.
Assassin game. I think he can create a lot of space for the rest of the cores. Big concern for me though is whether or not DC can kind of snowball again, because this time around they don't have these natural tower hitters, so a lot of this game is going to come down to can they kill EHOME enough times so that EHOME just are reluctant to save their towers, and if they can't do so, then EHOME will defend everything.
EHOME, Old 11 on the Nyx Assassin, already pushing out, managed to get some good aggressive wards down once again. Completely undetected, I believe. And EHOME are currently setting up for going on that bottom bounty rune. Digital Chaos keeping themselves a bit more spread. EHOME adopting with this lifesteal last pick. Winter said it kind of salvaged the lineup. It is going to be a nice aggressive carry that will be able to set the pace of this game, speed it up quite a bit. And he's got some pretty juicy heroes to munch on, especially if he's able to combo up with that Nyx Assassin, which you already mentioned. Could have a powerful game here. Particularly, I love it against the Timbersaw. Stops him right in his tracks with that spike carapace.
And EHOME gonna go for this top rune. Doesn't look like DC really want to contest this, as
The
they're gonna give
battle
Moo
begins.
this solo safe lane. As Toxa
The prize is mine.
avoids that, and Old 11 gotta be careful here. He's gonna get slowed up.
What do you think you're doing here? Not going to be able to
got
snag
the arrow
bounty
still.
rune. The arrow is going to latch. Weehaw punishes Old 11 to the max. Picks up the first blood.
He did a very good job of that. He timed it with his auto attack, so he didn't see it coming. They already knew that the Nyx Assassin didn't have that spiked carapace. Very well done by DC, as Old 11 just got a little bit too greedy there.
Oh no. Oh no. DC off to an incredible start now. They're going to be able to snipe the courier.
That is going to be, for any mid laner, the worst thing that you're going to see on the map.
If you aren't tilting yet, game number 1 going against you. Game number 2 already a free first blood given to DC and a courier pickup. Old Chicken, he's going to have to need a whole lot of mental fortitude to shake this one up, because he's got a matchup against Weeha's Mirana. We have already seen some stellar performances from him in this tournament. DC going to be running some sort of aggro duo situation, Resolution on the Faceless Void, and Misery on the Ogre Magi, pushing up against EHOME, Bonham, Fenrir, and Ice Ice Ice. Apparently feeling that this tanky duo that they've got going on is going to be disruptive enough, and you could already see it doing some work. Oh, maybe not. Thought they were going to be able to stop that pull. Misery unable to completely block it out. EHOME will be able to get a creep wave denied away from Digital Chaos.
Yeah, everything so far though that DC has gone for, it just feels like it's working out for them. Going for that courier snipe, not something that we see very often anymore, just because people are so careful. But EHOME looks like concentration slipping, but they've got to pull themselves together. They've still got a full game to play, but early advantage goes to DC, as Wee is going to have a very good time in this mid lane. The enemy mid doesn't have a courier. More importantly, he was able to get both the bounty rune and the first blood. Very early bottle boots for him.
That bottle will be coming in for Old Chicken in not too long. 30 seconds till the courier is back up, and should have the enough money for it in due time. Old 11 grabs himself an arcane rune. Not the most amazing thing in the world. He's matched up against Moo's Timbersaw. This is a matchup that he's faced once before. Resolution, oh, at the top lane, maybe he's in trouble. Still has a time walk, but if they hit this Disruption Torrent just right, they might be able to pop him ahead of the time walk, and they did it.
Very well done by EHOME. And you've got to pressure this lane as much as you possibly can. In the last game, EHOME's safe lane was just invaded so much that they couldn't really do anything about it, but this time around, they've got a hero that can match us. Ice Ice Ice, the Lifestealer, much more effective at these early game engagements than the anti-mages.
They do have a rather large creep wave coming in, so DC still picking up plenty of the experience, even if they did give away one of those kills. Our poor Nyx assassin forced all the way back to the fountain. He's not going to be able to get the same kind of 1v1 matchup. This poor guy, like, he had to deal with the Timbersaw last time. Notoriously hard hero to 1v1 anyway, and this time around he has to face up against a Timbersaw and a Skywrath Mage, who is currently pushing him back as fast as possible and now pulling the creep wave away. DC, ooh, Resolution gets the bash. He would need some serious RNG to be able to pull off that kill, though. He needs a secondary bash and even a little bit of luck to be able to pick up an extra one. Old 11 chased away, nothing major coming from that. He's just trying to get in the face of this lane and pick up some experience so he can start transitioning outside of lane, putting that vendetta to use.
Yeah, and despite everything that happened in this mid lane, Old Chicken is still doing very well for himself. He has most last hits in the game, hasn't been contested too hard as we, afraid to get into a right-click war with the Death Prophet, and even with the rune control on his side, not doing nearly as well as we expected.
Oh, Saksa apparently thinks he can contest Old Chicken for this one. He throws out the slow, and last nuke, not enough. 50 HP is what Saksa survives on. Now Weehaw and Misery will push through the jungle. We'll be able to find Fenrir, slowing him down, and Weehaw holding off the arrow for now. The disruption will buy him some time, but Weehaw still has to leap forward, and as long as he lands this arrow, free kill, not on the mark though. Fenrir quickly sidesteps that one, and instead we're going to see a kill on Moo. The rotation comes out from Old Chicken down to that bottom lane after pushing the Skywrath Mage back and the help of Old 11. The old duo manages to pick up a kill on what was a terrifying Timbersaw last game. Need to put every effort they can to be able to stop him in the laning phase this time around.
Yeah, they're doing a fine job of it right now. Just trying to get somewhat even out of this lane as the Nyx assassin struggling because he was against that dual lane. That bottom rotation, like you said, pays off pretty well. And at bottom, Old 11.
Spike Carapace buys him a bit of space.
I want to chase for
take some of the damage. Old Lada though, he's here. We'll be able to respond. Misses the torrent though. A little bit too late on that one to punish Moo. If he'd hit him underneath that tier 1 tower, don't think they would have killed him, but they at least would have been happy with the harass they got back to the hands of DC.
Pretty surprising that he opted to not go for a single point of that X marks the spot, but I guess he feels that he's going to be roaming around with Fenrir anyways, and he can get a little bit more utility out of that Tidebringer, but unable to land the kill as the Nyx assassin is zoned out, and meanwhile at top, Lifestealer going to be in a one-on-one situation as Misery makes his way up, going to make that a 1v2, and we've seen in the past what happens with this matchup. The Faceless Void does quite decently against the Lifestealer just because Lifestealer has notoriously bad armor, just 2 to his name, as Faceless Void 79 base on him. Feels very comfortable trading right clicks.
Yeah, all you have to do is start putting the pressure on him. You get a couple lucky bashes, the Lifestealer's low. You may even feel comfortable throwing out of the Solar Chronosphere and going for that kill. Now, all DC's cores right now have great CS. EHOME, their 2 cores are looking pretty good. Old Chicken is going to show up once again in this bottom lane. They're going to go for Moo with combo and stun, the disruption leading into the Earth Spike, and even the Spike Carapace, making sure there's no escape. EHOME will be able to pick up one and maybe another. Saksa will be able to get back into the trees. Just barely. EHOME are still in the hunt though. Moonlight Shadows bought them a little bit of time, but EHOME still have that exorcism out and feel comfortable diving in behind this tower, at least in between the tier 1 and tier 2 area, controlling any potential escape. There's going to start getting some damage on the tier 1 now, and DC waiting as the exorcism is about to fade out.
Yeah, DC not really going to get a lot out of this, as maybe if Weehaw was still standing in this mid lane, he could zone out Lanem, but instead EHOME going to get a lot out of this map, and they're not going to punish the fact that Old Chicken had already used that exorcism.
Would you say all these rotations are worth it? Moving the Death Prophet multiple times down to the bottom lane, and even now another 4 heroes just to be able to shut down
like this again.
The Timbersaw dies again. They're completely shutting him out. Now the rest of the DC cores are getting something out of the lane, sure. Do you think this is worth it for EHOME? So much commitment to shut out the Timbersaw in the laning phase.
Oh, very much so. Especially since every single time that he starts to progress in items, they just slam him back down. He's well worth it in terms of XP as well. That's a level 6 Timbersaw that you're ganking up, and it's not even like the other 2 lanes are suffering as a result. Resolution trying to apply this pressure, But Ice not really feeling it as this mid lane. Weeha's doing a lot of damage to this tower. Maybe if they can get this kill on Fenrir, but only firing warning shots.
Tower is under attack.
Now afraid to defend the tier 1 at the bottom lane. EHOME, they brought so many members of their team to the bottom lane time and time again. DC will just give up their safe lane tower, instead trying to pressure mid as well as top.
Yeah, this mid tower is going to be very valuable for them, especially because they have this Mirana ultimate. Being able to just Moonlight Shadow across the map up into here instead of having to go all the way around is going to be effective for them. And they're going to be able to take the high ground through most of this. Is now they want to start 5-manning up. They're going to abandon this bottom lane. Blue already making the rotation up. They might be able to grab this kill. Resolution being a little bit too over-aggressive though. He wants Ice. Going to back up.
He's keeping that creep wave. Ooh, the arrow almost latched there. They will be able to get a silence on the Ice. The Starstorm lands, but it's pretty clear that Ice will live. But he's not done just yet. Old 11's going to come in. He popped the Vendetta. They have that Infest combination. And Digital Chaos do not have any counter wards down just yet. Old 11 might be able to get the perfect initiation. They're going to go for Moo. Poor old Moo. He's been the punching bag for EHOME this whole entire time. And if they do hit the Earth Spike, this will be a perfect one. But instead,
it looks like they really want Weeha instead, though.
This is going to be close. He's going to lead with Vendetta trying to hit the Earth Spike. They managed to hit a Chronosphere on a just Benmer. Now they jump in, but they missed the Earth Spike. Weeha jump forward last half second. Benmer will go down eventually here. Pops the disruption. Old 11 sounds up, unable to do anything to save either one of his allies as they both go down. Old Chicken has popped the exorcism, is going to meet with Old 11 now. They manage to see Weeha underneath that counter ward. The Moonlight Shadow not going to be a saving grace here. Turns, gets the Starstorm at the very end to claim the kill. Now Old Chicken going to be focused down by 3 members of Digital Chaos. Old Chicken trying to lift his Spirit Siphon exorcism, not enough. He dies, Resolution lives, and Digital Chaos win the fight.
That was all ruined by the fact that we just randomly jumps forward into the Chronosphere, saving himself from the Nyx Assassin and wasting so much time. They saw him at the edge with that Sentry Ward. So well done by him. Quick reactions.
Yeah, just barely catches a glimpse the last half second and is able to leap ahead of that impale of the Nyx Assassin. Tier 1 tower still not dead at that top lane. Digital Chaos will put a lot of members up here to take away that safe lane tower, but EHOME are going to hold on to it.
And EHOME, even though they led with that early start, made possible by the both supports and this Death Prophet moving around, it's all gone now as DC picked up so many objectives up the top. They didn't grab the tower, but 3 core kills gonna be enough as they're gonna make another move.
Silence up the Skywrath Mage ultimate. They'll make it look easy between Misery and Zaxa to kill Old 11's Nyx Assassin.
And DC battling back in a big way, 6-5. This team, not a lot of people had hope in them, but here they are, taking the advantages. This top tower gonna drop. EHOME can't do anything to defend it. Looked like they wanted to, but way too far behind.
11-2. We see that gold lead actually being picked up by Digital Chaos now, 2,500 to their favor. After these last couple of engagements, they've taken that tier 1 tower at the top lane to Ice. Looks like he's got 1,500 gold. Normally it would be Armlet. He's not going to fight, is he?
I can't imagine that he does.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a serious sign of something going wrong if he feels like this game is so out that he needs that recovery. And he's pretty far down there in net worth for now, but if they just get a couple of successful ganks, it'll all be okay.
Yeah, this is a lot of time wasted though. These are 2 cores just hanging out together, not getting any XP, and Ice says this is going nowhere. Immediately gonna pop out, and it is the Armlet purchase from him.
Okay, well this will be one way where he can keep up the farm while he's sitting inside that Nyx Assassin. This farming item will allow him to keep the pace, but it's not really what you want to be able to do with the Lifestealer. Normally, you want to be able to use the Lifestealer in conjunction with the core like the Nyx Assassin and be successfully moving around the map and getting pickoffs, and that's what gives you
They actually spot Old Chicken. He accidentally goes for the auto attack. And Viz gonna go out as he's gonna back out.
DC were pretty scared too.
Old 11 gets hit by the arrow.
Starstorm, not going to be enough by itself. Old 11 still has to spike carapace, and he will retreat.
So far so good though for Digital Chaos, as Weeha already has 2 components of that Aghanim Scepter, halfway to the 3rd one as well. And EHOME I mean, at one point it looked like they just wanted to battle all over the map, but I think after that disastrous top fight, gonna get dissuaded from doing so, especially with Ice's Midas pickup, like we said. Not a fighting item whatsoever as mid.
Well, 11 spotted out once again. The counter ward goes down, and he may end up dropping here. Not going to be hit by the arrow. Dodges the Soxa's ult. They've got another counter ward, but no dust. So Old 11 stays one step ahead of Digital Chaos.
He's just buying some time for his team right now, but...
Oh, he may even be able to get this gang move in some serious trouble. He won't have a team training anything to work off. The man to hit the Earth Spike, and they take him down. Old 11 is going to be hit here. Resolution drops the Chronosphere, but it's, again, only focused on Old 11. Well, Old Chicken is free to use that Exorcism, but now he's facing up against 4 members of Digital Chaos and retreats, knowing that he doesn't really have the backup to press forward.
And they still want to try to pursue this just because they feel like EHOME aren't in a strong position, but EHOME...
Arrow, oh, ready to get hit. Now he's going to be silenced. Disruption save from Fenrir, though. He'll be okay. They'll take the ward away from Digital Chaos.
And the Ghost's going to return to him. This is going to end the fight for both teams as DC don't have a lot to pursue with. Instead, they're going to look towards mid. Ice. Just continue to try to farm away. Kind of barely dodge that arrow.
Well, he's making a bit of recovery now. He's at 5k right there next to the Faceless Void as well as the Mirana. So between the Midas and the extra bit of space, he's beginning to catch up, and that Midas will only get more effective as time goes on. Old 11 continually hunting around the map, serving as a potential ganking hero, but also getting a lot of space bottom lane misery. Dark Disruption into Torrent, into Boats. A combination that even takes out a tanky support like Ogre Magi with the help of that Soul Catcher from Fenrir.
Yeah, very easy kill for them, and EHOME in this game still trying to create space, do their 2 supports, but DC are still doing okay. They want to be able to utilize this Void Chronosphere off of cooldown as much as they possibly can to keep themselves in it. We talked about how they don't have these natural tower hitters. Resolution's going to have to build himself into one. As otherwise, DC, they're going to have to start ramping up the aggression, but with Moose Farm slowed down so much as a result of these back-to-back ganks, he's just not able to contribute like he did in the last game.
Yeah, you said they don't really have tower hitters, right? And that becomes so much harder when you look at, like, Fenrir. He's going to have an Ether Lens pretty soon. He's already got the Arcane Boots. He's got the Recipe. He's got 250 gold in the bank. That is probably one of the tournament's big defending heroes right now, is that Shadow Poison has proved to be incredibly effective at being able to hold towers from a distance.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
DC, they're smoked up, trying to make their way up at top, but not going to find anything. Even if they go through the jungle, EHOME senses this. They're immediately going to make their own move as Old 11 has that Life Stealer inside of him. They're going to wait for at least one of the supports to TP before they go for this.
Well, they don't have the Yules yet for Old Chicken, so a bit disappointed in that, but he does have a full-out hood. And with that fresh activatable last patch, that extra bit of 325 magic damage that he's able to soak up, he may stand a chance against what is probably going to be the focus of the Skywrath Mage ultimate. They're going to run into each other here. The smoke leading up. He moves forward, and he goes right into the trap. EHOME, they spring it, they get one. Can they get a second one? Soxa slowing him down, immediately hit by the Spike Carapace. He's going to be stalled up and clipped by the Shadow Poison. Tries to go for the TP out. The stun is there, though. DC have lost to EHOME. They found their opening bottom lane. Resolution beating into Lana. Lana trying to get away. Not going to be able to make him to these top. Another torrent, but a multicast comes in. And that will surely end his life. Moo will claim the kill as he is desperate for some comeback goal.
And for a second it looked like he'd be able to get out of there, but with that multicast, no way that you're going to unlock toggle through that as EHOME make their own move. Trying to take out this mid-tier 1 tower, but of course being one of the more important ones, DDC are going to respond in kind.
They're going to get this tier 1, but are they going to survive for it? Already the TP coming forward. Ooh, nice cancel there. Resolution choosing not to pursue. Didn't have the Chronosphere anyway, and would have been jumping straight into an Impale from Old 11. Now Old 11 comes forward. Weehaw. Not going to be his target. He's going to go deeper inside the jungle. Lying in wait. Getting some information. He knows that by himself, he's not able to kill any of his heroes, but a squishy little pumpkin will do. Old 11 He finds something that he can kill, and that's the Curry.
And that's going to artificially delay Wee's Aghanims by at least another 3 minutes, even though he almost has the gold for it. That's going to slow down the Mirana quite a bit, as now Death Prophet has that Yule Scepter completed. He's got a setup combo to be able to kill the Mirana with that Yule's into the silence. And DC, again, they've got to just play around the cooldown of this Chronosphere. Whenever Resolution has it up, that's their moment to go for a smoke.
Just like that, Ice's Handamitis not looking too shabby, as he's top of the net worth board, sharing it with the Death Prophet right now. He's got Midas, he's got Armlet, and even a Mithril Hammer building into that Desolator. So we're going to see a big-time Lifestealer come into the game at that 20-25 minute mark and take over. Digital Chaos are going to have to find some sort of response, and it's probably going to be all about the initiation. They need to be able to stop these constant Nyx Assassin incursions into their jungle and make sure they don't give the Lifestealer a free ride to an enemy hero.
And the best way to prevent that is obviously to go for the 5-man of your own. Try to slow down whatever progression that this Nyx can go for. His Resolution setting up at bottom. Doesn't realize that Old 11's down here too. But what can they do to stop it is Resolution digging himself a little bit further down here. Now he's going to show Old 11. Doesn't want to go under this tower though.
Right at the edge of this tower's vision.
Oh, they ping him. They saw him.
Yeah. He got a little too close, and now he will be caught out. Ice. Ruse is up, so he pops his head out. Builds the creep wave, but they don't go for any damage on the tier 2, fearing the Chronosphere of Resolution. This is really how this game and this current flow of the game could really turn against EHOME. The right Chronosphere set up into the Timber Saw and his Chakram. They've got Weeha's Arrow and Starstorm that can go down, and probably the best combination of all, Soxa's Mystic Flare. And we'll get the full out damage onto one of these core heroes. They have this beautiful wombo combo that EHOME have to be constantly aware of.
Resolution just farming up the enemy jungle now. Not going to wait for that bottom bait like he was for most of this time period is DC.
Hey, normally you want to catch a lot of heroes in this Chronosphere, but if they could just kill Ice, it's all going to be worth it. The arrow prolonging that stun is going to be enough. Digital Chaos. They throw the kitchen sink at him, and they hit him right on the head. 9-9 now, 20 minutes in. Digital Chaos evening out the kill score here and keeping the game close. It's manageable. Only a 2,000 gold lead for EHOME, about 3,500 experience. Their dire side, though, and Roshan is a constant possibility if either team isn't careful.
They're going to want to do it soon, too, just because whoever does get chronoed is liable to just die like that. If you can put it on your Lifestealer, then you can send him away to farm, and if DC wastes chronos on that, you're perfectly okay with that. And we talked about how Resolution had to pretty much use it whenever it was up. He's been able to do so, and now DC gathered around this bottom lane, waiting to see if the rest of the heroes will connect. So Weeha's going to make his way down with Resolution.
Finally gets that Aghanim Scepter from the Courier, and his farm will start speeding up a little bit to see if he can catch up to Ice. Digital Chaos currently forming a 4-man crew to push down the tier 1 tower at bottom lane, but they're going to be met by Old 11's Nyx Assassin with Ice inside as a Lifestealer. Now he's getting into the middle of these heroes. Here's a TP coming out. If they have the right Impale, this could instantly pop a hero. Weeha trapped inside the trees. He's going to be stuck. Can he leap away? Gets a force staff. Still a leap available, but he's pulled back into the torrent by X marks the spot. And he's done for. Moo's going to go for the TP out. He'll be successful there. No stuns from EHOME to stop him. So they traded Lanham's Kunkka for Weeha's Mirana, a beautiful trade for EHOME.
Yeah, very well done by them, responding in kind, but at the same time, a little bit sloppy from DC. They didn't have the Sentry Ward down in a position where it could help them out all the way down here, didn't anticipate the move through the river, and it's going to cost them dearly.
Yeah, they cannot go for tower pushes like that without the proper counter ward set up. And now they're actually giving a little bit of space to Old Chicken, and they may not be here in time. The disruption will stop the Skywrath Maze Ultimate Chronosphere by the finish him off, but now Moo comes in, Chakram, and pure damage wipes out the Death Prophet. They go on to Old 11 next. He's definitely dead, and now they want even more. Fenrir behind the tier 1 tower, but that's not safety. Moo, he'll pursue things out. He's got the Timber Chain ready to go. A long one pass into the tier 2 tower. But that is where he decides to end his forward jump. Now Ice actually managed to close the gap. He found Saksa, but the Moonlight Shadow's down, and Ice no counter vision there. The Raze goes down with the bow, and the torrent on the mark nails Misery, but Ice disrupts him just in time. He had a third HP, comes back by Moo. Oh, the Whirling Death, so anticlimactic.
Continue to pursue for this.
He'll find Lonham as well. Another Whirling Death. Lonham, he's going to be taken out as well, as he's going to try an armlet toggle, but he's surrounded by so many heroes. There is no prayer, no hope for EHOME to survive through that engagement. Ice choosing to find an opening and go for Saksa there. Leads into an engagement that is so bad for EHOME.
EHOME, 4 down. Not the kind of start that they wanted here, as Misery might just get picked off of Resolution, waiting in the wings.
Well, 11 trying to decide if this is worth it. Can he get the kill on Misery and still get out? It's going to require him to hit the Vendetta.
He's got a blink up, but he pulled for it.
Jesus, old 11, he was so close to landing that hit. That would have been disaster. Decides against it now as Misery's natural
he's going to start running into the Sentry. Misery, he's going to find the angle on him too. This could go so bad.
Get this done. The follow-up, EHOME not going to be able to nail the arrow. The spike carapace a little bit time, but old 11, he has no defense capabilities now.
That hesitation cost him dearly, as he wasn't really sure if he wanted to go for that. At the last second, he decides, I'm going to go for it. Instead goes down, and EHOME being repelled back, and Moo, look at him dive.
Moo underneath the tier 2 mid, another extra smart marksman spot. Will control him, he tries to timber chain away. Dodges the bow. Will be able to dodge all that, but Chronosphere comes in, and now Moo, he zips away, but he didn't need to, because Resolution's made a beautiful initiation. He already killed the back line. Shadow Demon dead, and Ice at half HP. Another Rage is coming up for him. So they could fight. They also have the Exorcism out, which means DC, they call that a huge win. They got pickoffs, they forced a big-time ultimate, and didn't lose anybody for it.
I mean, look at Moo go. He just solo dives. His team wasn't even really prepared for that. Resolution was making the long way around. He manages to get in there, get out, and he even forces the Exorcism out of Old Chicken. That was one of the best abilities that EHOME were going to have to defend, and instead it gets popped for absolutely nothing. DC in such a good position right now.
They certainly are. EHOME struggling to be able to defend this tower. They're going to come out now. X marks the spot, but an arrow. It nails old 11. Disruption saves once again with the cord on to 2. Maybe Ice can actually kill something for once, but the force staff is keeping him at bay.
Who's getting really low here?
Anybody? Moo, Yule Scepter. He's going to need a beautiful timber chain, but decides it's not even worth the effort. Just commits the Bloodstone suicide, making EHOME look a little sad there. They really needed that kill bouncy to get back into this game, as they've just been run over by DC in the last few engagements.
And right now, a large part of that is just because they have no natural ways to get into fights. The only way that they can start a fight is if old 11 kind of walks in, invis, blink daggers in, but DC have very good responses to him. As if he pops out with Ice and it's not on a resolution, he's always going to counter chrono that.
Yeah, he'll be able to lock 2 heroes for 1.
And once again, they're going to make their way into this jungle. DC maybe not be prepared.
Did they spot that out? I think.
Oh, they might have seen this.
Yeah,
I think like crazy.
He was there just long enough. That TP, he was there just long enough. Now they're going to jump.
He misses completely.
Resolution, beautifully timed with that time block. That was just pure guesswork.
So well done so far from DC. Everything seems to be just breaking their way. First that jungle engagement where the Nyx wasn't entirely sure if he wanted to go for it. Hesitates, ends up not getting a kill and getting himself killed instead. Now in that situation right there, a time walk out at the last possible second as old 11 went for it. Decided he didn't even want to get that hit. He was trying not to be greedy.
He was just trying to impale straight out of that Vendetta. Not going to be the case though. EHOME, they are playing a full defense game now. They're trying to set up with this constant Kunkka running forward with X marks the spot with a blink dagger and armlet, hitting the creep waves, not making any real commitment, but he's got to be careful.
Oh no, they actually got spotted doing this. They're gonna know that EHOME are gonna go for something.
Yeah.
And Misery gonna frontline for DC.
Maybe they can still catch him, old 11, if he gets the right blink in here. Smoke the smoke, and then catch Moo, and Moo almost getting blown up again. Gets forced on board, and now the old scepter save. Old Old 11 brought back into the Chronosphere. Old Chicken, he has to do so much here with his exorcism. Ben Rear already dead with the Skyreth Mage ultimate going down. Old Chicken in the middle of all these heroes, but DC dancing in and out, trying to prevent this Prophet from doing too much. They managed to take off Old 11. His Boo, he strikes back once again, half HP, will chase down Lonham as well with the help of Misery. Armlet toggling again, never going to be enough against the Timber. Just getting behind, he ranges up, he tries to go for the back, I can't latch on to anything, and they start retreating once again, but DC in and out once again. They're pursuing Ice Chakram, not on the land. Ice tries to go for a tricky TP out, but no! Mo says no way in hell, you don't make it out alive. All 5 dead from EHOME as DC wipe them and don't lose anything.
DC could just be one push away from securing themselves a top 4 berth over maybe one of the tournament favorites, EHOME. Never meant to be here, but they don't care. They're making their way in. EHOME, they don't even have any abilities if they respawn. The exorcism is still down for a minute and a half. DC senses weakness.
21 to 10, 29 minutes in, and our first tier 3 is down. Now Old 11 comes in, trying to stop or at least slow down this progression from DC as they're beating onto the range rack. The Torrent and the boat gonna come in. Misery nailed by that Nyx Assassin Spike Carapace to jump forward by Weehawk. Gets a lot of damage on the Old 11. He's been deaded up, thinking twice though about whether or not he wants to go in. All of DC are low, but they retreat after taking the melee racks.
EHOME losing that melee racks. They're going to be so demoralized here as they have just not been able to string together a fight. We talked about how it was only this Nyx Assassin that was going to be able to open up the fights for them. That is not enough to save him. Once he goes down, EHOME, they're just left helpless. They got kited so hard in that last fight. None of the core is able to actually utilize any of their items. They need DC. They just get further and further ahead.
They needed Ice, and Old 11 to be able to take over the game and just make a numbers advantage happen for EHOME with that initiation. Be able to jump on someone, hit the impale, pop them with the Nyx Assassin and the Lifestealer, but it's just not happening. All these defensive 4 stacks just keep coming out from Digital Chaos, and as the game progresses, they're going to have more and more to deal with. Rule Scepter has already caused them so many issues when they try and go onto Moo. There's a Glimmer Cake now for Saksa, and look at that. The tanky item picked up Solar Crest for Misery, making life hell for any right-clicker that doesn't have MKB, and that's a long time coming in this game for EHOME.
It is insane to think about that at one point in the American Open qualifiers, DC were a game away from losing the complexity, might not even be here now. They're one push away from securing themselves a top 4. This bottom push, they understand how far ahead they are, 12k lead for them. And it doesn't get easier for EHOME. They do not have the type of lineup that does better when they get far behind like this. And
Old 11, you're going to need a miracle initiation, and that means not running into this counter ward that's set up. He's a bit scared. He knows how dangerous his position is. Ooh, the Moonlight Shadow goes down. They spotted that one out. EHOME, they could set a trap here. They see the counter ward. They see the impale. 3-man lined up. Is it going to be enough? On the far end, a boom, 2-2. They got 3. DC only going to drop 2. Old Chicken going to be able to find out. Misery, Moonlight Shadow, Glimmer Cape. Misery might just get away. But on the side, much more important is Boo. The Timber Saw is paramount. They need to be able to finish him off and not let him do that Bloodstone suicide. He Timber takes left-hand side, trying to make his way up, but he commits the Bloodstone suicide. They can't get Misery. Ice like a goddamn bloodhound. He keeps on pursuing out Misery, hoping to be able to catch up to him, but Misery, he's too fast.
And Misery wasted so much time of that Lifestealer. DC technically only losing 1 as the Faceless Void goes down, but Moo able to get the Bloodstone suicide off, and that's going to mean DC going to come right back for this. They don't want to give this Roshan up.
The arrow making it a bit easier for EHOME, but look at this. Old 11, he's pushing out. This is pretty classic whenever a team tries to go for Roshan. There's always going to be a response from the opposing team. You'll see sometimes these initiations. If the team tries to set up to defend Roche, it all goes wrong for them. But look at this setup, man. Old 11, he needed a miracle initiation, and boy did he find it. 3-man impale into the Torrent and the boat. You couldn't ask for a better setup.
Yeah, without the Sentry Wards pushing in, DC, their 2 supports have to be on top of this, and this time around, look at Saksa's inventory, 5 sentries, realizing there's only one way for EHOME to initiate, and they got it off. If they can prevent that, DC, they're going to say that's a fluke. Let's go for it again. They're going to gather up in this bottom lane.
Oh, but what happens if EHOME push out aggressively and manage to catch DC before the counter wards are laid down? As I see that, one sentry already placed inside the jungle. But do they have another one in the lane? Because it could be EHOME. They look for the wraparound, but Old 11, he decides against it. Spidey senses tingling, perhaps. Makes the read that it is not appropriate for them to go into that jungle. It's the correct one too. He's got to be careful with that payload that he's carrying. When he goes into the jungle like that, it's not just his own life that will be forfeit. If he's caught out, it's going to be Ice's as well.
And EHOME were fully prepped for that fight. Feel confident that they can take it at that angle. But DC gonna avoid, and instead it's gonna be EHOME that smoked together as 5. And they want to do the full wraparound.
This is interesting. EHOME, they're not actually trying to go too deep in the jungle here. They just say, let's get into the jungle and wrap around behind mid. That's what they threw anyway, but now they're gonna go for Roshan instead to give up the tier 2 at top lane. Weehaw takes that one for free. I think EHOME,
they're gonna smoke under that ward.
Oh, DC. All right, Old 11. Carrying the Lifestealer inside once again. They're going to lead the Death Prophet inside the Roshan pit to try and finish the one out. Moonlight Shadow goes down. Old 11 already being spotted though. And now the Chrono Whip completely whipped. BKB activated, but EHOME, they haven't found an initiation yet either. Moo, he's been hit by the X, but Yule Scepters himself, and
EHOME's got to go back. They don't have any of their abilities up again.
The Exorcism and the BKB, they're both fading away. And EHOME, while that initiation wasn't great from the Chronosphere, neither was EHOME's response. Neither team finding an initiation that suits them, and both will back away.
DC with its DD Mirana Bloodlust set up. They're going to go for this Roshan for themselves, and EHOME just have to give it up for them. 3 gifts going DC's way.
Aegis for Resolution now. And that was the one hero you said, if you don't jump on Resolution, he's always going to counter you with the Chronosphere when you make that Nyx Assassin and Lifestealer drum. Well, now they can't even go on Resolution. He's got, first of all, a 10-second BKB. Second of all, an Aegis. A second life for him. It's damn near impossible for EHOME to kill him outright without that Chronosphere going down.
In this bottom lane, now they start to push. Even without the Chrono available, Resolution now has that freshly minted BKB. Going to be very hard to take him down as EHOME don't have the best ways to deal with it, as their only source of damage that's going to go through is the Lifestealer right click or this Death Prophet Exorcism. And EHOME, they sense that. Already going to pop into Old 11. Ice, lies in wait. But so many sentries laid across this path, but this might prompt DC to go back. They don't have any more with them.
Well, 5 seconds until Resolution has his Chronosphere, but sure enough, DC will back.
I'm going to wait for the gem.
Oh, that's smart. Again, anything to counter this initiation from the Nyx Assassin. Speaking of him, he spots Weehaw in the mid lane, who's kind of separated from his team. His team right now doing some counter warding. But they begin to group up, and EHOME's opportunities are dwindling.
DC push through this mid lane. They just are pushing in every lane that they can. They sense that they're still ahead. There's no reason to make any sort of panic moves. They can wait out the Sagus if they want. Play until it has about 3 minutes left. EHOME behind though by so much.
BKB for They Digital Chaos discipline right now. They're just ensuring they have every advantage they could possibly need before they go for another high ground push. The mid lane of Brax already gone. DC, to reasonably say they completely control this game, it's going to need a second lane of Brax. They start going uphill now. Resolution leading the charge. Lanham going to try and pose as the defense here. Kunkka spamming out his occasional Tidebringer and X marks the spot combination, but it's nowhere near enough to keep DC back. Resolution still at full HP thanks to his lifesteal. They'll time walk away and wait for the next creep wave. They're getting the chip damage they need to win this game. It's up to EHOME to fight the right initiation here.
Yeah, another arrow whiffs. Resolution finally started to take some damage, but doesn't seem too concerned about it. He knows that EHOME have to commit for this fight now. Here comes the Chrono.
He jumps forward on the 3, move with the talk about the 2. Oh, chicken! Oh no! EHOME, they're just getting obliterated. 1, 2, 3 down. Vinmir's gonna make it 4. Ice with some rebuttal, trying to go on to Misery. But now, Moo, he stalls up Old Chicken with his Yule Scepter and a full retreat from Digital Chaos. They managed to force a buyback there, force an exorcism as well, and all they have to do now is wait outside the base, wait for the exorcism to fade, and how can EHOME defend then?
And the arrow not gonna hit, but Old Chicken left alone now.
Not even waiting for the exorcism, they start immediately focusing down on Old Chicken. They've got 75 seconds down. High battling up again. 5 He's not gonna do it. EHOME! They lose. The Digital Chaos have done it 2-0 against EHOME.
And the Cinderella story continues as DC will move on after beating the Chinese juggernaut EHOME. Sent home in the round of 6.
Unbelievable. What a loser's bracket run by Digital Chaos so far. You call them misfits. You call them the rejects. You call